So, we are going to discuss the question number 2 in December paper 2020. Question number 2, first of all, we will look at about the requirement tested. Explain the internal and external triggers, part A, that cause TLL to come up with a new strategies for its business for the next 5 years. So, examiner want to test your knowledge on this internal and external triggers under the part A. Then part B, discuss how TLL could add value for its employees and society at large during the COVID-19 pandemic. I test your knowledge on value concept. Then part C, design 2 goals, 2 objectives and 2 targets that can set for the export marketing division of TNL by its new management. Design 2 goals, 2 objective and 2 target that can set for the export marketing division of TNL by its new management, 7 marks. Then D, explain challenges that TLL will have to face when catering to international market. So, what are the challenges you have to face when you are going to international market? If you look at about the questions raised, it has tested your knowledge from different topics. For example, part A and C has tested has been tested from topic number 1, introduction to strategic management. Then part B have been tested from internal environment. So, this value was introduced at the beginning. Then part D has been tested from last topic, chapter number 15, international market. Right. So, we will go through the facts given also and try to understand the given scenario. Tea Lovers Private Limited was established in 1924 in Sri Lanka as a family owned business and manufactures tea for the local and international markets. The company is famous around the world for its brand name and the quality of its tea. If you look at about the company given, this company is experienced organization. It is almost 100 years in Sri Lanka. It's a family owned business. They manufacture tea for local and international market. The company is famous around the world for its brand name and the quality of its tea. They are providing very quality product to the market. TLL export its products to 25 countries. It generates more than 70% of its revenue from these export market. So, they operate in more than 25 countries and generate more than 70% of its revenue. Then 60% of the revenue from export market come from 3 countries. They depend largely on 3 countries, China, Canada and Australia. Then the unexpected COVID-19 outbreak and other economic issues adversely affected the sales of TLL. Due to the uncertain situation prevail all around the world, the company's management decided to make some changes to the functional strategies set for the coming years. Now, due to this COVID-19, sales has been affected. So, you can assume that sales has reduced. It is given reduction in sales income because of this COVID-19 pandemic. Then SML Silva, the owner of the company and also the chairman for the last 30 years, recently appointed his son Pawan as the chairman and his daughter Shyanti as the general manager. just after they completed their higher educations, right. They have appointed these two persons just after completed their higher educations. Pawan handle activities including strategic planning and organizing resources, and Shyanti is responsible for the implementation of activities with controlling mechanisms such as meeting and budget. Due to prevailing economic condition around the world, the new management has decided to reduce manufacturing cost to a minimal level. That means manufacturing cost may be high, they want to reduce that one and increase the efficiency of the factory. That means efficiency may be low, they want to increase the efficiency level, right. Being a good corporate citizen, TL always try to add value to its stakeholders even during these unfavorable economic situations, right. Normally they want to add more value to their stakeholders, right. Part A, what is the action verb? Explain the internal and external triggers. Explain, earlier also we identified the same. Make a clear description in detail revealing relevant facts. Make a clear description in detail revealing relevant fact. So, you have to come up with a detailed answer by giving the relevant facts. Now, here examiner tests your knowledge on internal and external triggers. So, we will look at about the theory aspect on the same. So, what is a trigger? Right. So, trigger is something that bring about the realization of the need for actions. Right. That is something that bring about the realization of the need for actions. Due to this particular factor, right, you realize to have actions, right. දැන් මෙන්න මේ සාධකයේ නිසා අපිට මොකද සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ? අපිට සිද්ධ වෙනවා යම් කිසි action එකක් ගන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා මෙන්න මේ සාධකයේ නිසා. Relation of need for action and can either be an internal or perhaps more commonly an external event. It can be an internal factor or it can be an external factor, right. So, we will look at about the triggers. Actually, there are two type of triggers. One is external one, other one internal one. If you look at the external triggers, external mean it come from the external environment. It come from the external environment. So, if you look at the external triggers, it can be direct or indirect triggers. Direct normally refer to the micro environment, indirect normally refer to the macro environment. Normally indirect triggers can be identified through the PESTLE framework because macro environment can be analyzed through the PESTLE framework. You know what is PESTLE framework? Political, economic, social, technological, legal, environmental, ecological. Then direct triggers normally can be analyzed through the 5 forces model. You know what is 5 forces model? We use 5 forces model to analyze the industry attractiveness. There are 5 forces, rivalry among existing competitors, then bargaining power of customers, bargaining power of suppliers, then threat of new entrants, threat of substitutes. Then internal triggers, So, internal triggers for change are normally happening within the organizations, which come from the internal environment. So, what are the example for internal trigger? One is change of philosophy, new ownership, new CEO for example, then new initiative or change in management style, new initiative or in a change in management style, then reorganizations, then divisional restructuring, then a decision to start a process of cost reductions, perhaps because of a realization of a decline in profitability. Similar point was there in the case even, right. Then personal changes, perhaps a key member of staff has retired or left for personal reasons unconnected to the organizations, then new opportunities being identified by staff or management, right. So, we will look at about the case and try to identify the relevant factors. So, first of all, through the facts we will try to identify internal and external triggering factors. So, I am trying to identify internal factors, internal triggers, plus I am trying to identify external triggers also. I will go through the facts given and try to identify relevant facts. Tea Lovers Private Limited was established in 1924 in Sri Lanka as a family owned business and manufactured tea for the local and international market. The company is famous around the world for its brand name and the quality of its tea. TL export its product to 25 countries and generate more than 7% revenue for this export market. 60% of the revenue from export market come from 3 countries, China, Canada and Australia. The unexpected COVID-19 outbreak and other economic issues adversely affected the sales of TLL due to the uncertain situation prevailing all around the world. This COVID-19 outbreak should identify under the external factors. External factors, it come normally under the social environment. The company management decided to make some changes to functional strategies set for the coming years. I will try to identify some internal factors also. Anything else we can identify from the second para? Internal triggers adversely affected the sales of TLL. That means reduction in sales, no? It should be an internal trigger. Reduction in sales. Reduction in sales, reduction in sales. These external triggers we found one factor, COVID-19 outbreak. That's external trigger that lead for introduction of some changes. Then SML Silva, the owner of the company and also the chairman for the last 30 years, recently upon his son Pawan as a chairman and his daughter Shyanti as the general manager, just after they complete their higher educations. So, there is a management change. Now, what has happened? New chairman and new general manager. New chairman and general manager. Change in management, in other words, change in management. Pawan handle activities including strategic planning and organizing resources, and Shyanti is responsible for the implementation of activities with controlling mechanisms such as meeting and budgets. Due to prevailing economic condition around the world, the new management decided to reduce manufacturing costs to a minimum level. Internal trigger, you want to reduce the manufacturing costs, reduce the manufacturing costs, reduce the manufacturing costs, minimum level, and increase the efficiency of the factory in order to compete in both the local and international markets. Right. So, what are the other external triggers we can talk? In fact, COVID-19 outbreak, if I go for detail, we can talk about more factors within the PESL framework. We will take political for example. So, political environment, there may be some restriction applied by some government. For example, even in Sri Lanka, there are some import restrictions, or traveling restrictions. Therefore, company may not be able to export some of tea products. Political. Then economical factors, country like Sri Lanka. So, what you can expect actually, economic recessions, that is one of the example is negative GDP growth rate. Many countries in the world is facing a negative GDP growth rate that affect badly to the company. So, this negative GDP growth rates, economical. Then social, people face lot of issues due to this COVID-19 pandemic, social issues, even they are unwilling to go for shopping, they do not have enough income for spending, lot of issues. Then technological, so there is a evaluation in technological area. For example, I saw in one of the article it say that technological applications was triggered by the COVID-19. Many people started to introduce many technological solutions like online selling, then meetings like Microsoft Team, Zoom, those came as a result of this pandemic. Right, for example, technological, you can introduce this online requirement of online selling. These are requirement. Right. These are some of the factors you can talk on the external triggers. Right. So, we will check examiner, what examiner tell on this. He is introduced what is trigger, is giving the theory part, then the analysis part, internal triggers. What are the point he mentioned on the internal triggers? New CEOs, GM management philosophy and the leadership style they would practice. Yes, we identify the same. There is a new CEO GM, right? Not only that one, actually chairman also, no, there is a new chairman also. Right, so they are leadership style. Then vision, mission, value, goals and objective of TLL. Additional point have been identified. Vision, mission, values, goals and objective of TLL. We did not find that point. Then as a new management has taken over, how they would align, associate, achieve the common purpose of the company. Another additional point he has identified. As a new management has taken over, how they would align, associate to achieve the common purpose of the company. Then approach to cost reduction and tracking resistance from employees, we identify that one, this reduction the manufacturing cost, that is one of the requirement. The decline in sales and pacing the challenge, reduction in sales, we found that one from the given scenario. The external triggers, what is telling on this? Changes happening to the pest factors due to COVID-19, changes happening to economic factors. So, he is giving some example on this. So, we came up with more point relevant to this under each heading. Political, what can happen, for example, restrictions, travel restrictions, then import restriction, economic recession you can identify, like negative GDP growth rate, social, it may create lot of issues, then technological, online selling, we identify them in details. COVID-19 has changed the economic, social, political and ecological environment of the entire world. Therefore, changes in those factors can be considered external triggers that change the strategy of the organization. Due to lockdown in some countries, export business have been impacted, but at the same time online buying and selling has also increased, and that has increased the demand in the local market. So, we identify similar points, no? Right, how many marks given? 6 marks. Are we in a position to get the full marks? We can assume 3 correct points. Yes, internal we have identified 3 points. We have identified external also more than 3 points. Therefore, we can easily get the 6 marks. Right. Next, we will look at about the part B. There, part B, discuss how TL could add value for its employees and the society at large during this COVID-19 pandemic. Discuss how TLL could add value for its employees and the society at large during this COVID-19 pandemic. Right. It tests your knowledge on this value part. If you remember the theory part, you have learned, look at about theory part also. Before that, actually, what is the action verb used? Discuss, no? What is the requirement on the action verb? Discuss. Examining in detail by argument showing different aspects for the purpose of arriving at a conclusions. Examine in detail by argument showing different aspects for the purpose of arriving at a conclusions. So, you have to examine in detail to come to a conclusions. So, we will look at about theory part. This very simple area actually is the most easiest thing, I think. You learn about this one. What is business value? A measure of worth of something, that is you have learned about the value. Value refers to a measure of the worth of something. Under that, we discuss about value from 5 stakeholder point of view: shareholder value, customer value, employee value, then supplier value and societal value, right. Here, if you look at about the questions, examiner tests 2 aspects. Societal value is one aspect, other one is employee value. Now, we look at about the questions here. Discuss how TL could add value for its employee and the society at large during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, what should be your approach? You can define what is employee value and you can define what is society value. That can be taken from your theory point. For example, employee value, you can say value of work experience that employee get from their employer. You can provide some example like salary, job security, those are normal example, right. Then societal value, value of the society and communities in which business organization operate. For example, welfare activities done by the organization, you can provide the theory part first. Then if you apply for the given scenario, how can you do in this COVID-19 situation? Society part, what are the points you can mention on the society part? We know that government has to spend lot of money, right? Government has to spend lot of money due to these pandemic situations. Government is also struggling. So, that is one area organization can help. For example, government came up with this COVID-19 fund, right? If you remember that during this COVID period, this government asked people to put money into this COVID-19 fund. Even myself, I donated around 15,000 rupees. Most of you may also have donated. From organization point of view, so what you can do to that particular fund, society aspect, you can contribute that particular fund. That is one example. Anything else you can do? What are the things you need? For example, you need sanitizers, right? Then face mask, people need sanitizers, face mask. There are some people who are struggling in economic aspect, they do not have jobs. You can give some dry food to them, you can donate the face masks and sanitizers to these people. Those are some of the example you can do, right. Then for the employee aspects, what you have to do? First of all, you have to get some safety measures. When you go to the organizations, there should be a water, there should be a tap to wash your hands. Podi තියෙන්න බෑනේ ගිය ගමත් හොද ගන්න මොකක් හරි තැනක් හදලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. Anything else, you can have sanitizers in different places. In some organizations, I know that face masks are free of charge given. You can give the face masks free of charge to employees. More importantly, employee maybe struggle to come to the office because of this pandemic situation. So, you can have rotational based working, even my organization that was introduced at the beginning. Then even home working can be introduced, convenient way they can work. Anything else you can do? More importantly, actually this job security. In many organizations, employee struggle because of this, and many people lost job. Therefore, you can give guarantee to the people that you are not going to remove them. So, job security can be ensured. Those are the things normally you can do. It's a very easy questions. I think you can manage this one very easily. So, we will look at about the examiner's answer also. What the examiner tell on this? He defined what is societal values and employee value first, theory aspects. Look at societal value, what he is telling. Societal values are the values of the society and communities in which a business organization operate. People may value companies for the benefit they provide to the society. Theoretically define what is societal value. In relation to COVID-19, the government has to spend a lot of money on medical treatment and other social activities. Therefore, TL can help the government by donating money for the COVID-19 fund. Similar example he has come up with. Then providing medical equipment and face masks to hospital, donating dry rations and other requirements for needy people during lockdown in the country. These actually could add value for the society and in return create a good reputation for the company as well. Then employee value. Employee value is the value of the work experience that employees get from their employer. Factors they may give value to the employees are job security, working condition, recognition, prospect for career development, etc. That is theory aspects. During this pandemic, organizations should take safety measures to protect their employee from the virus. That is the number one things. No, the company could provide face mask and sanitizers for its employee to use during work, wash basin to clean hand, allow employee to work on a rotational basis and work from home in order to add value to the employee in the current situation. Job security is also important for employees in these current conditions. Yes, we also identify similar point, right. So, you can easily get that 6 mark, I think. It's very easy questions. Then we will look at about the part C also. How many marks given? Seven marks. 7 marks are given. Part C, I am referring part C. Design 2 goals, 2 objectives and 2 targets that can set for the export marketing division of TLL by its new management. Design, that the action verb used here. Design, what is the requirement of design? Devise the form of structure according to a plan. Devise the form of structure according to a plan. Here we have to come up with some goals, objectives and targets. No? Right. Two goals, 2 objectives and 2 targets. Normally the theory part is very easy, no, here. But unfortunately, many students struggle when you try to apply the theory into practice. So, first of all, we will look at about the theory part relevant to this. Goals, objectives and targets. So, we will try to illustrate this goals, objectives and targets. If you look at about this goals and objectives, goals are normally less specific, relatively long term performance target. Relatively long term performance targets. Then the objectives normally are more specific, relatively short term performance target. short term performance targets. If you take goals, compare with the objective, they are long term. Objective compare with the goals, they are short term. Look at about the goals, normally since it is a long term, may not be achieved within the time frame of the strategic plan, within the time frame of the strategic plan, If you look at about the objectives, normally since this is relatively short term, we will be able to achieve within the time frame of the strategic plan. Be able to achieve within the time frame of the strategic plan. Right. Are there any relationship between goals and objective? Yes. Normally objectives are derived from the goals. If you look at the objective, they are derived from goals. අතරම අපි goals achieve කරගන්න තමයි අපි objective set කරන්නේ. So we are setting objective to achieve the goals. Right. Then if you look at about targets, what is target? Normally target measure is the measurement of an objective. Target means the measurement of an objective. Actually, through this target, we are providing a quantitative value to the objectives. Right. So objective is measured through the targets. For an example, objective may be increase sales. If you say increase sales up to 10 million, in there that amount we have put is the target, 10 million is the target. Right. This is a very easy area. I just remind you the theory area. So here also I have in the slide I have defined them. I have given additional information on this. So we will look at about the questions here. Design 2 goals, 2 objectives and 2 targets that can set for the export marketing division of TLL by its new management. So we have identified 2 goals, 2 objectives and 2 targets. Right. What are the goals we can identify? What are the objectives we can set from that? So we will try to identify some point relevant to this. So what are the common goals normally organization can have? We will start from that point and try to develop an answer based on that. Common goals normally organization can have. So I am looking about this some of the goals. I am trying to identify goals, then I am trying to identify objectives. Based on that I can set targets. goals, what are the things? For example, to become one of the main brand in the world. I will say goal to become one of main brand in the world. So normally goals are not specific, no. Yeah. So I will just say to become one of the main brand in the world, right? Any other things? Then I can look at about this market percent also. We can say another goals, more market percent. More market percents. We just will say market percent. Market percent is another goal. You want to have more market percent. Then another one is innovations, another area. Another goal we can have innovations, come up with some innovations. Identify 3 goals to become one of main brand in the world, market presence, innovations. Then based on these goals, we will try to identify some objectives to become one of main brands in the world. What are the objectives we can do? We can increase the market share. We will say increase market share. Based on this, increase market share. That the objective we can have. Then market presence, we can come up with some objective. Let's say enter into new markets. Enter into new markets. Enter into new markets. Objective. For example, you can say enter into new market. We'll say at least 2 new countries. At least 2 new countries. Then innovations objective, introduce, we'll say objective introduce new products. Introduce new products. Introduce new products, innovations, that the goal, and their objective is introduce new products. Then we will try to identify some target also. So target, I will say increase market share by 25%. Increase market share by 25%. We will say increase market share up to 25% in year 2021. So I set an amount 25% target, increase market share up to 20% in 2021. Then objective here target will say earn, will say earn 5% of total, 5% of 5% of income, 5% from income from new export countries. So we set objective to go to new market. India we set to go to at least 2 new countries. We set an amount here to earn at least 5% of the income from that new export countries. Introduce new product, target, let's say introduce at least 2 new product. Introduce at least 2 new products, 2 new products in year 2021. We set a amount, target to new product in 2021. So we came up with example for goals, objective and target. So remember here answer you are going to develop may not match with the examiner's answer as it is. There will be some differences, but you have to come up with similar answer to examiner answer. We look at about the examiner answer also. So, what are the goals examiner has identified? He has identified 3 goals. First one, to make TLT one of the top 5 brand in the world. That is the goal he has identified. One of the top 5 brand in the world. We came up with a similar goal. We say to become one of main brand in the world. Right. Then second one, to identify emerging market with growth potential and become the market leader in the Middle East. So, that talk about the market person, we simply say market person. Then third one, to have a better product selection than rivals. So, our one is we will talk about the innovation, we say innovations. Then first goal, objective to strengthen the company's brand name appeal. Then target to increase market share by 5% annually. Yes, we came up with similar target. We say increase market share up to 25% in year 2021. Here it say annually they want to increase market share by 5%. Then another target has identified by the examiner, to train the marketing team to be capable of serving better than rivals. Then under the second one, what is the objective? To derive 20% of the revenue from the sales of new product introduced in the past 5 years. Then target to introduce at least 5 new product annually. We also had a similar one, we say introduce 2 new products in 2021. To have 15% of the revenue from new product launch in the past 3 years and 5% of the revenue from product launch in the past 5 years. Then to have a better product selection than rivals. Then to consistently provide new or improved product to the market ahead of rivals. To improve the research and development process in order to improve innovation, that is a target. To introduce at least 2 new flavor tea per year. We also came up with similar targets. You do not want to have the same answer, but come up with logical similar answer. If you look at about my answer is different to some extent from the examiner answer, but match the criteria defined within the goals, objective and the target. That is the requirement in there. Right. Then we can move to the part D. Part D of the question number 2. Explain challenges that TLL will have to face when catering to international markets. Right. Explain challenges that TLL will have to face when catering to international market. Explain is the action verb used here. Earlier also we look at about the same. So, what is the requirement here? Explain. Make a clear description in detail revealing relevant facts. Make a clear description in detail revealing relevant facts. So, you have to give a clear description and by giving the relevant facts. So, first of all, look at about theory part relevant to this. This is tested from the international topic, internationalization topic, your last topic. This is the theory part. the challenges of international markets. So, what are the challenges of international markets? Political risks, business risks, currency risks, public reputations risks. What are political risks related to factors as diverse as wars, nationalization, argument between government, etc. Business risks, this arise from the possibility that the business idea itself might be flawed. Currency risk, this arise out of the viability of foreign exchange rate, volatility of foreign exchange rate. Given that there is a possibility for speculation and that capital flows are free, such risks are increasing. Profit appreciation risk, government action may make it hard to repatriate profits, right. So, we will look at about the question requirement. You know the way that you have to develop the answer theory first, then the application side. Here explain challenges that you will have to face when creating into international market. At current moment, what are the challenges they have to face? Political risks, yes, if there is a problem in the country they are exporting tea, so that may affect to them. For an example, nowadays this Myanmar there is an issue, so that may affect it to you, right. So, you can provide example. Then business risks, what do you think about the business risks? Yes, for example, you did not understand the market requirement properly, therefore, the product you are offering may not be the best product you offer into that particular market. For example, say if you are going to send tea product to Japan or China, if you send a normal product, that may not be successful. So, India they more prefer to green tea. If you send the green tea product, then your product may be sold very easily in there, right. You can talk about that a little bit under business risks. Anything else? Nowadays due to this COVID-19 there may be some business risks. For example, so they may not accept your shipment in some countries because of the fear on the product quality due to these pandemic situations. People may fear to even to touch the products, right. There may be restriction, that is a business risk. Or some of the countries are struggling these days because of this COVID-19. Sometimes you may not be able to get the required money from those countries, right. Or sometimes orders may be cancelled, those are business risks. Then currency risks, what are the currency risks you have? Due to variation of the rupee against the foreign currencies, normally what happens is Sri Lanka rupee is depreciated, that is an advantage for exporter. For example, if you are sending the good to USA and you are getting the USD, so that is an advantage actually, because you can get a more amount in Sri Lanka rupees, right. So, those are some of the example. We will check what examiner tell on this. Examiner answer. Catering to the international market involve several categories of risks. Since 70% of the revenue of the company arise from the export market, the company may face a lot of challenges in the international market. So, political risks, this relate to factors as diverse as wars, nationalization, argument between the government, etc. Due to the current economic downturn, some countries may also restrict import to their countries. Yes, there is a political risk, there may be restriction of taking import to their countries. Then business risks, what is business risks? We identified some example. This arises from the possibility that the business idea itself might be flawed. I give some example. For example, I told you in China and Japan, the main product you have to provide may be the green tea, not the usual tea products. If you send the usual tea product, you may fail, it not match with the country requirement, right. You can provide even some example, right. Then as with political risk, it is not unique to international market, but firm might be exposed to more sources of risks arising from the failure to understanding foreign market and foreign cultures, right. Due to the COVID-19 impact and lockdown, shipment may sometimes not be sent to the relevant country, or money may not be obtained on time. You may not be able to send the goods, or they may not pay you on time. Then some of the shipment orders could also be cancelled. Some of the shipment orders could also be cancelled. It may be cancelled. That also can happen. In currency risk, this arises out of the volatility of foreign exchange rate, given that there is a possibility for speculation and that capital flow of such risks are increasing. Theoretically, you define what is currency risk. Then the application part, next one. If the company has priced its product in USD, the company could earn more revenue since the Sri Lankan rupee is currently depreciating against the USD. That is one thing you can focus. If you are sending the good to some countries where you get USD, that is beneficial to you. Then profit repatriation risk, government action may make it hard to repatriate profits. Right. If you look at political risk and profit repatriation risk, you don't want to talk much. Theory is explained, but business and currency risk, you can talk on some practical scenario applicable to this. So with that, we can complete the question number 2.